classes second and third CT, the Pierpaolo Pasolini High School, specialized in tourism studies. Join the project Water Food Land with the creation of a tourist route. Our work had the aim of developing a deeper knowledge of places in our local area which offer a good example of strong relation between food, water and land. The interaction of the natural and human landscape allows a specific form of tourist, which has at its core the enjoying of nature by walking or cycling through the landscape.
Our school has chosen the Martesana Canal as the focus of the work and of a wider area with many different resources. The canal links Milano to the Adda River near Vapio d'Adda, but the route goes far as the village of Caspidadda. So, along the way, the tourists can find nature, art and history from different ages, from medieval times to the architectural products of industrial archaeology.
We think the most interesting places along the route are Crespidadda and Gorgonzola, at the beginning and the end of the route. In Gorgonzola, the tourist can perceive the interaction between water, land and food by tasting the Renault cheese Gorgonzola. The enjoying of the landscape is made easy by the service of a light city train line, MM2, from Milano to Gessate, just along the Martesana Canal, and by a cycling route reaching the Adda River and the surrounding regional park.
The work consists of a general outlines of the physical and human environment and its historical development, and some short descriptions of the places and monuments along the route which the class has considered worth seeing.
Gorgonzola is an old cheese. It dates back to 879 AD. We are unsure about the place of its origins. Maybe it's in Gorgonzola or in Valsassino. The town of Gorgonzola remains the principal center of production. From the beginning of 1900s, it exported mostly in the North European countries. In the last years, the place of production moved from Pianura Padana to Novara area. The Gorgonzola is formed by blue and green vines. It's a rare cheese. The vines, its origins come from the passage called erbonitura. Thanks to the different type of mold, we can have two kinds of Gorgonzola. The sweet one, which is soft and creamy, needs about 2 months seasoning, while the spicy one, which is more solid and tasty, has about 3 months seasoning. The Gorgonzola has the consortium for the production from 1917. It respects the standards of DOP and it fights the abuse, the unfair competition and forgery.
The current parish church was built between 1806 and 1820 to replace the old sacred building. For this reason, the Duke Gian Galeazzo Serbelloni, 1744 to 1802, Lord of Gorgonzola, charged the architect Simone Cantoni, author of the Serbelloni's Palace of Milan, to rebuild it. Work continued even after the death of Cantoni in 1818. The new church was consecrated in 1820 by the Archbishop of Milan. The Church of St. Gervase and Protasio was a point of religious and civic reference for the surrounding area.
This is the old wood bridge of Gorgonzola downtown. cleanliness is influenced both by the current and the periodic placing in dry and clean that take place twice a year in March and September.
The area crossed by the bike tour lies between the so-called high and low plains of the Po Basin on the fringe of the spring belt where water appears on the surface from the water table at points, fontanille and fountain spouts, corresponding to variations of permeability in the clastic deposits of the ground. Nowadays, the landscape is very different from the original natural one. During the centuries, man has reclaimed wide areas of the lower plain, even more so near the Po River, partly to combat malaria and partly to recover land for agriculture, which otherwise found water too irregularly distributed. Canals were excavated starting from the holes where water appeared, and this was subsequently distributed for irrigation purposes.
Situated roughly halfway between the Ticino and the Adda, Milano has always seen these two rivers as potential outlets to the sea through the Po. After having given up the idea of a direct connection to the broad river through the river Lambro, the city concentrated on a system of canals which were built over a period of 7 centuries. They are divided into two systems, the Naviglio Grande, the Naviglio Berguado, and the Naviglio di Pavia, belonging to the Ticino, the Naviglio Martesana and the Naviglio Paderno, connected to and supplied from the Adda. Naviglio Martesana, thus the name after the name of the family entitled to the country it crossed, was an idea of Filippo Maria Visconti, Duke of Milano. It was built thanks to Francesco Sforza and his engineer Bertola de Nosati between 1467 and 1460 for the first part and finally connected.
The Naviglio della Martesana was designed with the aim to provide water to a part of the Po plain and driving force for the mills, and to allow the navigable connection with the Adda Valley. Its strategic economic importance for the development of the city came from the Milanese demands for good, coming from Valtellina and Valvassina valleys, and then carried down the Lerio and Adda rivers. The construction was realized after the Naviglio Grande, and therefore the canal was named Naviglio Piccolo. The difference of width from the starting section and Milano was 18 meters, with the exception of the place named Casina de Pom, an inn or a tavern, an evocative place such as the Sabbioni, in an area where big boats carrying sand and gravel could have a break in their travel. Alongside the river there was a way named Altaia, where horses or oxen and even men used to drag big boats against the flow.
Along its course, the Naviglio della Martesana meets the river Mulgra, Lambro and Seveso. The surrounding habitat shows a large and rich vegetation in the areas where the canal borders the river Adda, an agricultural landscape of interesting richness due to the expanse of the fields, to the water system and to the presence of historical farmhouses, notwithstanding the predominance of urban areas, where one can, however, identify some remaining historical proofs while approaching the city of Milan.
Unfortunately, the largest diffusion of urbanization brought not only in the high plains by the industrial economic development, together with the slight lowering of the aquifer levels, has caused the breaking up of the smaller canal network and many fountain spouts, 80% in the Milano country, to disappear already in the last decades of the 20th century.
Thank you for your kind attention and enjoy our movie. Bye!